early, so the weather is going to change. And you know what time it is. I'm a little bit early today, but I got some guests in the building today, as you can see. And you know where we are. SportsRap Podcast is the group page on Facebook Live. You can get over there right now and tune in. So, in continuing our interview series, and I understand everybody knows that follows and listens, you know that we give sports updates and all of that kind of jazz. But again, I want to welcome everyone to Sports Web Podcast, another installment of the interview series. So, we all know we just went through Thanksgiving, and we know how we do on Thanksgiving. We get it in. I mean, and it's been a little slow the last couple of years, but for all intent purposes, when it comes to Thanksgiving, that's one of those days when you get around family, you enjoy yourself, you eat, and then the day after, everybody is like, all right, I'm gonna start my diet tomorrow. I'm starting my diet on Monday. Just like we do when we do our New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna start on the 1st. Right. Yeah. Okay, it's the 3rd. I'm gonna get started next week. So, with that being said, my guests in the building today are the owners, proprietors, and inventors of His and Hers Juices. Now, I know you've seen them around because I've seen them and they caught my eye, which made me reach out to them. And as I do, as you all know what I do, I did my homework and I read their story. And I felt like it would be good to bring them on. And again, like we always say here, we're always into helping each other. As you see, they look like me. We all look like each other. So we help each other out. And this is something that we need to get back into, especially after going through that crazy pandemic and then resurfacing, if you will, where we're trying to get back into what we considered normal a ways back. So with that being said, I am going to let them introduce themselves because you know I always introduce my guests, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves today. And then we're going to get into some dialogue, talk about themselves, their company, what they do, and how they all got started and what inspired their spark.
All right, first and foremost, my name is Darrell, co-owner of His and Hers Juices.
Good morning, my name is Sandra, and I'm also a co-owner of His and Hers Juices.
Right. So, His and Hers Juices, family, company. I love the name, His and Hers. You guys are in it to win it. I see, and I've seen, like I said, once you caught my eye, I continued to look. And then as I reached out and we made a connection, also continued to look and see what was going on. So I read that you started your business in the middle of the pandemic.
That is correct.
In the midst of the pandemic.
That is absolutely.
So you guys used your time wisely. I should have been your neighbors or something, so I could have used some more time wisely. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about what inspired you to start, one, a company in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
Two, a juicing company.
All right. So I'll start off. So, all right. So you got 2020. Let's take it back, so it can make some sense here. So I lost my job right before the pandemic. I want to say the last week of February. She lost her job because of the pandemic. So now we're jobless. Right. We just bought a house. We're 2 years in. There's a lot of uncertainty going on because the kids are home. They don't even know when school gonna start back up.
Right.
So we're just home, doing nothing, getting unnecessary weight, doing no type of activity, just home like everyone else is doing, just being home. And we really didn't know what the next step was really gonna be. You know, I mean, as far as I would say being an entrepreneur, that wasn't even nothing in the plans. Let's go find a job. I'm getting on Indeed right now. What's going on?
Right.
Who hiring? Cool. All right. So you're gonna do the same thing. You know, the great thing about it didn't pan out that way. Now the crazy thing about it is she had an actual juicer in the kitchen that we actually moved from our apartment to our home that we never touched. Now this juicer we had was like what, 2 years old, literally, never touched it.
Yeah.
Never,
Sound like my house.
never touched this juicer, right? And
But we brought it with us when
Yeah.
we moved.
yeah, bought it with us when we moved. So, with that being said, we had the juicer, and like I said, we started getting unnecessary weight. You know, we got a nice backyard. Let's start utilizing our backyard. Just do some little workouts. Let's start doing some, some stuff like sit-ups, push-ups, just jog in the backyard, just something, because like I said, we wasn't being active at all. And by her having that juicer, she the one that came up with the juicing aspect of, hey, let's just start juicing. I know a couple flavors, for her background and where she from. She grew up drinking cantaloupe, carrot juice, stuff like that. I knew nothing about that. Right? Tell them I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about that type of stuff, and she picked me on to the different flavors. Like one day I woke up, she was like, "Hey, babe, try this. What's this? Oh, watermelon, pineapple, oranges, papaya." I'm like, damn, this shit good. I'm like, damn. I'm like, this is good. She was like, oh, yeah, try this one. I'm like, damn. I'm like, yo, how long you been knowing how to do this? Well, I was just now drinking juicing. You know what I'm saying? And that just became a routine from like, I want to say April until we actually came up with the idea to start a business. Because before we even wanted to start a business, we was just on a tip like, let's just drink juice. We'll post on our story. We didn't have a business page, we didn't have nothing. We just post on our personal pages. And people would be like, yo, what's up with that juice? I'm like, ain't nothing. I'm just drinking for my personal use. Like, you know what I mean? And I just was drinking it. I just posted, drinking the juice about to work out. And people always ask, yo, man, what's up with juice? I'm like, yo, nothing was up with it. I'm just juicing. And we just drinking. We just going about our day. And she came to me like a month and a half, 2 months later, said, hey, babe, what you think about if we started a business? All right, and another thing about, why would we start a juice business? I'm not about no juice business. Like, start a business. Like, what? That didn't cross my mind. I started a business. I'm like, I don't want to start no juice business. She's like, no, I think we should really think about it. I'm like, no, like I didn't see the upside. I didn't see nothing with it. I'm like, no, I don't want to start no business. So then we kept juicing, kept posting it. People just kept saying, yo, what's up with the juice? And now it's kind of hitting them out. We 2 months in, and y'all keep still asking what's up with juice. I'm not promoting it to sell or nothing. Now I went back and I revisited the question. I'm like, yo, babe, I'm like, you was for real? Like, you really serious? She's like, yeah, I was serious. Like, I think we really should start a business. I'm like, all right, well, let's sit down. Let's figure this out then. Let's see what we can do. Like, how we gonna map this out? How we gonna market? How we gonna go about this and that? And
yeah, a lot of stuff we didn't know. A lot of it was just, you just think you just open up a Instagram page and order some bottles, and then you just think business comes to you. So a lot of it was just, that's what I just assumed. Like, I'm like, oh, it's easy, our friends would support us, or people. And then when you really get into business, you start to understand that like, your clientele always isn't like all your friends, and it's not all about just an Instagram page, and it's so much other stuff that we had to learn along with juicing as well, that it came and we learned quick, but it was a process, because I would just be like, yeah, we just gotta do an Instagram page, and we ordered some bottles off of like Amazon, and we had like our family come over, like and it was in the summertime, when they started letting opening up a little bit, like the yellow phase. Our family would come over, our mom, his mom, and they was like our taste testers. And we would put stuff in the fridge, and we'll be like, oh, try this. We'll have everybody was trying the juice, like, oh, I don't really like this one, da-da-da-da. Or some people will be like, oh, I like this one tastes good. Or this one got too much carrot, this one got too much orange. Or the celery. Everybody was liking that one. They're like, oh, it's different, because celery juice is, like, it's kind of, nobody ever wanted to drink just straight celery juice. So everything pretty much started from our house. Everything started just off of just an idea, and I would say it was my idea, but he definitely put it into motion with his background and his friends, and just knowing he's more the talker, the networker. So just knowing people and just asking people, having friends that told us how to like market, and pretty much just having people by our side pretty much tell us like little stuff on what we should look for, because that sometimes when you open a business, you get so caught up like why your friends and stuff not supporting you, and they're not always your customers. And I think in the beginning, a lot of people get caught up in that. I did too, because I'm like, why they not buying all the time? And you realize they're not your clientele. You know, they just supporting, and there's a difference.
Right, because when you first start a business, you're going to get that initial love from everyone. Like, you start something, everyone show love. And after that first month, maybe month and a half, it dies off, right? Now you got to tap into the folks that's actually interested in what you're trying to offer. And how you probably seen this is probably from an Instagram ad. Probably, I would assume. Sponsored ad,
Yeah, it was
advertising.
either that or Facebook.
Yeah, or on Facebook.
And what caught me was locally.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said in my opening, I'm here, I do sports, but whatever I can do to help and support people in my community, people that look like me, I'm all for it.
Right.
Adults, youth, whatever.
And
Because I'm here now, I've been here going on 7 years, but somebody helped me.
Right.
You know, I had an idea and I was reluctant, but I kept getting the feedback from friends and family. And then my wife was like, look, you should just go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see you when you talk about it, and I see the change in you, I see the look, so just go ahead and do it.
Right.
So again, I like to give that back. And I'm appreciative of you having time to come in
Absolutely.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
for having us.
I know you probably answered it a little bit, but what were some of the most difficult times in the very beginning? So let's say, matter of fact, not from the extreme beginning, because you told that story. Let's go with what you just said, Darrell, from after that first month and a half. Now you're beginning to search and reach for your specific clientele.
Understanding different ways to market, because it's one thing to just post, hey, order, but the hardest thing was trying to find creative ways to tap in to get that audience, right? So something I came up with that before we started, I told her, I said, look, I got a plan. This is what we're gonna do. You know, people like buying from people that they see that other people actually try it and like the juice. So my biggest thing was reaction videos. You know, put it in their face, ask them to try it. They dig it. Other people gonna like it just because they seen other people try it. They like it too. That's one of my big things. I got a background in like videography and editing, things like that, because I used to do acting and stuff like that. So with that being said, it helped me pursue this business differently than someone else that probably would just start a juice business and just post bottles. Like, my thing was like, how creative can I get? Like, us doing these pop-up events. Like, if you see these videos, how I put certain stuff together with the editing, things like that, it captures people, it grabs people's attention. So my thing was like, how can I figure a way to market to capture people's attention? Because like we said earlier, once that initial rush is over of your friends and family, because they're not going to buy from you every week. Right. Once that's it. And then you got to tap into using marketing like I do on Instagram and Facebook, how we seem to tap into people actually interested in what we're trying to offer. Because you can do that all day. I can find out, okay, who likes juice. I can select a certain age of people, a demographic that's interested in this juice, right? And that'll help me target exactly who's interested in what we're trying to sell.
Cool. And you know, another thing I think that may have helped you guys was the fact that the juice and excuse me, and your ingredients in your juice. Like, you just spoke about the celery juice. When I saw that, I was like, I don't know. Maybe not. But then, like I said, as I read further and I saw what else you used in that particular juice,
right,
I said that would be something I could give a try. And also, the three of us sitting here know our people.
Yeah, that was a big thing for us
We are
too.
gonna find some kind of way to get vegetables or whatever, basically without having to physically eat them in
right,
their full form.
That's
right,
how it
and
started. Cause I'm so picky, and it took me a while to like get older and try stuff. But when you so stuck in like I was so stuck in my ways of just being like a picky eater, and I'm like, how can I eat this that's good for me, especially celery, because it has so many nutrients and vitamins, and I know all of that, but I'm like, I don't want to eat it. I don't like it. It don't taste good. But then I'm like, I started juicing it, and then I'm like, when I can drink it really fast, I can hold it. I'm like, if I can drink it, it's in my body, it's good for me. I just like, he's different. he'll try, he'll eat it. If he know it's good for him, he's more likely to eat it just because he's like it's good for my body. I'm the opposite. I'm like a kid. I'm like I don't want to eat it. So pretty much that's how a lot of the juices came in mind of like how can I make this good enough that I want to drink it because I know it's good for me. Because you notice with babies and stuff because we have kids. I'm like we give them a bunch of vegetables and we know it's good for them and then it stops and then you just start eating bad food and then your kids start doing the same and I'm like where do we get to the point where we can start drinking stuff like we gotta take care of ourselves. We're getting older, I mean you do that with kids and then after a while it kind of stops. I'm like we gotta start doing better taking care of ourselves. So that's how the juices kind of came about because I'm like I'm trying to make mixtures and stuff that I'm like how can we make it good, because people hear healthy drink or all natural and a lot of people assume it's nasty.
Exactly.
And when they taste our juice that's why they be like this is really good. I'm like yeah like not all natural juice or healthy anything that has to be healthy isn't always have to be nasty. And I think that's something that we just have programmed in our mind like a salad that gotta be nasty.
Absolutely.
Or but a burger is good, and I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm just saying like I want us to be in the middle where healthy food we can change the program like it's good for you. It should be where you drink it tastes good. It don't always gotta be like I don't know.
Yeah, like you taking medicine or something, and you're like, I gotta just throw it down. No, I want you to enjoy it. And then by you speaking about the ingredients, you forgot them ingredients that's in there. Think about it: pineapple, watermelon, oranges. Like they already got naturally sweet, so they're gonna be good regardless.
And I think that's one of the things that we take for granted is we'll eat that stuff. We'll eat the fruit salad. We'll eat the pineapple and the watermelon. The papayas, the mango and whatnot, the apples, the oranges. Then we just eat them like, oh, I want an orange today.
Yeah.
Or we'll walk past somewhere and see them and say, oh, pineapple look good. Let me get some of that pineapple. Not fully noting that if I eat more of this, some things may change. So I think that's another thing I said I was gonna say that I think is a great part of what you do, that everything is made to taste good.
Right.
And you have family and yourselves, which is like getting it right from the gift horse, where people's reactions are what they are.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, I could drink this. So how far do you go back in juice?
What do you mean? Cause if when everything started,
I'm talking about before then.
I grew up like that. My dad is.
Because I'm just saying that 'cause obviously you had a juicer, so at one point.
You probably used it twice, yo.
But I'm just saying, at some point in your mind, you was like, "Oh, I used to juice, so I'm gonna get this juicer." And then I understand, life hits you, things happen, and you push it to the side, and it's like,
in our
it's
apartment,
there.
and it was on sale, and I'm just like, when in our apartment we were trying to, cause we had did a fast one time, and that's when we did it for the whole month. We were juicing, we stopped eating meat. It was like a whole fast. We went all in, and we saw like the benefits of it. And then once that fast was over, then we went back to our ways and kind of forgot about it. But then when we moved, we were able to buy a house and everything, and we took it with us. But the juicer kind of came about just pretty much at the store, because we always would go back, like, okay, we're on our diet or we're trying to lose weight, we'll go back to our juicer, go back and forth, but it was never consistent like it is now. Where that juicer, we whipping it out like every 2-3 times a week now. And we've seen the benefits of what it can do to us. We've seen with our family, we've seen with friends, of people telling us like, oh, I got sick and I was just drinking the juice, and I'm like, it's just about sometimes your body, a lot of people don't be putting that in their body. So when they do, they be like, oh, I didn't even know I wasn't using the bathroom right, or I wasn't cleaning myself. Until they start drinking like the detox juice, and they like, I didn't even realize it. Like they didn't even realize it till they drunk, and they like, I didn't realize how many times I went to the bathroom, and it clicked, like I don't go to the bathroom as often as I thought I did. Or little stuff like that. But I grew up with juices. My dad will always make carrot juice, carrot and mango, or carrot with something, and that's how one of our first juices came about, with carrots, because my dad, I already knew with carrots and oranges, carrots and mangoes, that was good, because my dad would buy a lot of carrot juice and make us drink it when we were young. So that's why when I would give him cantaloupe and stuff, he'd be like, how you know how to, like, how you know these flavors go together?
Right.
And in my head, I'm like, I used to drink. My dad used to make me drink it, so some stuff already came naturally. A lot of the other stuff came about when we started experimenting in the kitchen, just trying to get different flavors together. But it goes back from me just being a kid and my dad making me drink some juice.
Cool.
Do you got a lot of people out here thinking that they actually drinking natural juice and they're not? These naked juices out here and things of that nature is not really 100% natural. So a lot of people, when they drink our juice, they think they're gonna get it naked, and they think far as the price of the juice should be like a naked. They don't understand, and we do a lot of educating, telling people like this is really natural. This is really the actual fruits and vegetables, and ginger or tuna, whatever is in it. And that's why people be blown amazed like, no, this can't be a natural. There's no way it tastes like this. I'm like, oh, really it is. It's like, man, I had a naked. Naked tastes like this because that's a naked.
Right.
His and her juices is naked. It's totally two different things.
Right. Like I think what now that you just said there, Darrell, I think now, since it's on the top of my head, one of the things that probably sets you guys apart and what people's reactions are what they are with what you just said is the fact that with the naked, we know that's a major brand.
Right.
So they probably also have that thought process. Well, we gotta make it taste good. We gotta try and make it taste good. So that's where the other stuff comes in, that you guys don't put in, that makes people say, oh, and now that they try yours, and then they're like, oh, you can taste the difference. And of course you can taste the difference when you got the additives in there, as opposed to the exact fruit and vegetables that are in
They'll have like 2% fruit and a bunch of chemicals and other preservatives, stuff in that, just to hold it over and give you that taste that you think that you get. Even like Gatorade, I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's just
people. I told y'all I was gonna get y'all right after Thanksgiving. y'all don't need
especially after all that eating we did.
Yeah, I know everybody loves their Gatorade and their Nakeds and whatnot and whatever. But if you in the city, you got two people right here, and I know you looking, so I know you see them, and they're on the screen. You see them, hit them up. His and Hers Juices on Instagram. HandHjuices.com to get your order in. His and Hers Juices on Facebook. You're going to see the ad like I saw it. It's a no-brainer because I see it sometimes twice a day now. But it's for my, and I mean I pay attention to it more because I've seen it and we've had some some social media dialogue, whatever. But every time I look, I'm looking to see what changed in the videos and how people react. And like I said, when I scroll through, I enjoy the videos. But again, people, you got somebody right in your backyard. They make deliveries. I know you saw it. They ship. They make deliveries. So you can get your orders in. And we'll give you all the information again before we wrap up. But
absolutely
beginning a business in the pandemic, you were already home, like you said, like everybody else was.
Yes.
The kids were home. So the stress level was probably at about 5. I'm being nice. Okay,
out of 10?
Yeah, I was home with my kids.
I want to say 7.5.
Right, and I know that, so that's why I said I'm being nice. So the stress level was about 5. Okay, let's go 6.5.
Okay,
since you said 7, let's make it even. Let's go 6.5.
Cool.
Now you decide to start a business in the midst of all that.
Right.
Go on a limb here and say, when you got started, that stress level probably went to about 12 or 13.
Oh, he know I was ready to quit. As soon as
She was about to quit.
I wanted to quit.
Wait,
as soon as we got our thing, you can say he know I was ready to quit.
Was about to put the fork in it.
I was over it. I was just like, in my head, I'm like, why would he let me think of this? Like, why would he agree to this idea? It was an idea.
This is why I questioned her, like, you sure? Because I kind of, when I say that, you sure, I wasn't saying it in a sense like I knew how to run a juice business, but just business in general, like, you know what comes with this, right?
I did.
And I was still, going to take the easy way out. Like, man, look, we just go ahead and get another job, 100K a year or whatever, we be good, whatever. Right. And we'll figure it out. Like, we have somebody saved up.
Shout out to Voice Nation who's tuned in. Also, shout out to Brandy Battle and Frank Mulligan who are tuned in as well.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what, we go get another job. We figure this out like we always do. So, like I said, I really slept on it. And when she said she wanted to start the business, I'm like, all right, cool. And then we did our first week of juicing. Not even for the public, we juiced for the family. We juiced for the family. We made 70 bottles. 70 bottles took like 6 hours to do because we had this first juicer that was super slow. And it took like, 6 hours. And we started like 7 in the evening and we ended like, 2, like 4.
Wow.
It was probably like a full-time shift.
It was stressful because our daughter, she was in ritual, so we had to get up. So the whole time I'm thinking like, it's 4 a.m. We ain't gonna get no sleep. Like, and we had at the time, we have 2. So our oldest was in ritual, and then we had a baby. So I'm like, like when we gonna get a sleep? Because we gotta do school. So that's really what be stressing me out. Just trying to. At the time I was like, it's 4 a.m. Then our daughter gotta go to school, then the baby, and it like we're all home. It's not like they're going to school or anything. Like, we're not gonna get sleep. Like, we're gonna be up for 24 hours. And if they take a nap, that's really the time that you take to clean up and get ready. So I was just going through all the emotions, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it was just too much. But I'm glad he made me stick to it. But I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, we have kids. That's all I can tell them. Like, we have kids. We not like we can't. I was just getting in my head. I'm like, we have kids. How can we do this and how can we do that, and how can we focus on the business but also be with our kids. I know we're home, but you can't just ignore them. Like, you have to focus on them too. They got schoolwork. It was just a lot.
Out the gate, we did this from the muscle. We're still doing it from the muscle, but it was really just us, like grabbing the labels, delivering, actually making the juice. We did everything, like no help, and it got to a point where I think we did deliveries ourselves for the first 2 weeks, and I was like, yo, no, we can't do this no more. We can't really make the juice and drop it off. Like, we can't do that. And one of my, I had a homie that actually was supporting me every week. And all he did was just lift an Uber. And I was telling him, I'm looking for a driver. He's like, man, use me. He's like, I'll deliver the juices for you, bro. That's no problem, man. Like, I can just deliver juices during the day. And I'll just pick up my Uber and lift, like, during the day. Like, you sure? Like, yeah. He's been rocking with us for a year ever since. And he got his brother, because when we started picking up more orders, he got his brother to hop on. We had 2 drivers. So, that was a big help. That helped us a lot.
So that's great to see that you had some friends that were willing to help the cause. Yeah. It's a great thing, because you don't find that much. A lot of times when you get people like that and they get to know that you have a business, they're like, oh yeah, well, I can help out, but let me get a couple juices or something, or let me do this, let me do that. But it sounds like you said they were just willing because he already was driving and he did it. So that's a great thing. And I mean, I
actually he's a customer still. He's still
I applaud him for that. For you guys, I applaud him for that. That's a great thing. So behind the scenes, who's the boss?
We both boss. We both.
Good answer.
Yeah, we both boss. Unless you want me to sleep with the couch tonight. You want me to sleep with the couch tonight, don't you?
Great answer, man. Great answer.
I would say we do. I think in this business we both know our part.
Yeah.
We both know where we're good at. We know our strengths.
Yeah.
We know I don't try to step on his toes. He don't step on mine. I know when certain things like I said, he's more outspoken. He's more with certain things. He definitely do be pushing me more to do certain stuff because I'm not the best with like wanting to be in front of the camera. I do get shy or even like talking and stuff. So he'd be like, no, you got to talk. Like, people like you or people want to see you. It's his and hers.
Absolutely.
It's his and hers juices. And then sometimes I'll be like, no, I just want you to talk.
You let your hair down and let it go.
Yeah, but sometimes like, you need your support system and they be
absolutely.
putting you back into that mode where it's just like, stop getting in your head, get out of it. It's a business and you got to take it serious sometimes. Or I get up in my head sometimes. I just like, it's going to be called his juices pretty soon.
Like, we understand our strengths and weaknesses. Like, she's great with anything you see, like website design. She's great with the menu. She made the menu. She do all the flyers, all that stuff. I do the video, do the editing. That's all in home. You know what I mean? So we have our strengths and weaknesses, and we combine it to make the empire that we currently building.
Yeah, and it works for us because, like I said, he knows what he good at, and I know mine. So with certain stuff, what we talk, we communicate. We be like, oh, we gotta do this, or we gotta start doing that. So I say, as long as we work kind of like a team.
Yeah.
But we all know who the real boss is.
So it's kind of like he said, he was the one that was looking without the tunnel vision. He was looking ahead, where he said his thought process, I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the initial stages where you were back and forth with it, and when he would always say, are you sure this is what you want to do? So I'm thinking and I'm guessing that in his head he was like, look, it's gonna come a wall. We're gonna hit a wall at some point. And I need to know definitely if we gonna break through this wall together.
Right.
Cause now that you said it, I'm all in. So I'm going through the wall with you.
Yeah,
or
man,
whether
he'll grab my hand and make me go through the wall,
and that's
whether
what
I
I'm
want
saying.
to or not.
I think that also helps the way you play off of each other, because you got one person that's looking down the road and saying, look, we gonna hit this wall. We going through this wall together. If I gotta go through first and then pull you through,
right,
we gonna get through this wall together. You ain't staying on one side and I'm going through the other side.
Yeah,
right.
he would never. It's funny because I hear so many people talk about the pandemic, and I always tell, like, yeah, it was a lot, for a lot of us, because a lot of us didn't know how to be home. But I always say it worked out for us because we will always talk about wanting to start a business, and I know a lot of people who have kids, and it's hard when you have a family because you're thinking about your kids, you think about a household having a roof over their head. It's no more like when it's just you're willing to risk it all for yourself, but when you have family and you have kids, especially ours, they're young, it's a hard balance sometimes. And that'd be more my thing, like I want to still keep their structure and like their house and everything. And in business, I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So when we sometimes started going through a lot of certain things or getting through a rough patch with the business, it's hard. Like especially with Black and brown people, Black and Spanish people, there's not a lot of business owners where you can we don't know nobody, where we can call and ask for advice or ask for information. Sometimes it feel like it's hard to get because one, we don't know, like where do we get this information, so a lot of times you researching it, figuring it out by yourself, and you got to take those risks that can make or break your business a lot of the time. So a lot of it was just learning as we go, because you can come up with an idea, you can come up with a business name, you can come up with a logo, have a great structure and everything, and what they don't tell you sometimes in business, you go through a lot of highs and lows, and we did with this first year. Thank God, we have great customers, and we've been lucky to keep on going, and we've met people, but it just sometimes feel like it's harder. You think it's so easy from Instagram and everything. You think, oh, we be good, but we always talk about that. We be like, I see why people quit or why people start and they can't finish because finances, or it could be resources. It's just so much that goes into it.
I've seen a lot of juice companies that started at the same time we did. They're not going anymore.
Not even juice, but just businesses in general. Like it, and it could be COVID. It could be because of the pandemic. It could be a lot of stuff why people started and finished, because it's a lot. And it'd be a lot on us. Just speaking from us, I'd be like, trying to balance a business and then balance being in a relationship, balance your kids.
Everything. Because like I say, it's just us. We don't got no team. It's just us and our drivers. That's it. And we make it work.
And they're the best drivers too, because they help us out with a lot.
Absolutely.
They help us with our business all the time. They great. So it's always good to have good people like that on your side. But that's a lot of stuff they don't talk about with business. Just having a lot of people helping you, because you don't know everything. We don't know everything.
Still learning. Learning. We do not know.
And that's why now what they say is good to network and talk to other people. But sometimes it'd be hard when you don't know. When you first walking into something you don't know, you be like, where do I start? Where do I go? What do I do? And there's a lot of people that don't know, because people are like, just get a job or just go back to work. It's so easy to say go get. And there's been times where I be thinking about that, like, how do I get out the mindset of wanting to run back to work? How do I run back to this business and keep it going?
Ooh, yeah, well, I understand. I understand the juggle.
Yeah.
With me doing this and working a full-time job, and then again, like you said, having a spouse, having a family, it's rough. And you know, just a little sidebar. Like I talk to people a lot, and people ask me, "Well, why do you do this?" And I do. I said, "Because I love talking sports." I said, "But you know, the difference with me and doing it here," I said, "is I'm the one that's doing everything." And there's some things I told people that they didn't know, like doing my research before I actually started. You know, I found out like a lot of those major sports people don't know, they get topics and stuff presented to them, and then they just talk about them. And then they have people that do research for them and things of that nature. And I'm telling people, I said, so you lump all of that in to one person, and you understand why when I talk about what I do in this podcast, how I'm serious about it, and when I post stuff, I post things from my heart and from my opinions and my opinions only. And when I reach out to people, I try to stay professional. Like with you guys, I sent you the confirmation. And this is just stuff that, like you guys, I learned going through the process of just starting and then looking at it and saying, well, wait a minute, maybe I could do something with this. So let me just keep going. So it's like I have moments when I'm sitting home and my wife is like, you all right? What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just doing some stuff for the podcast. You know, what are you? I said, well, I created some letters. So I got stuff like my laptop is open, my iPad is open, I'm in my phone. And she's like, yo, like what? I said, just give me a minute because I got to get this right. And it's like, kind of like raising your kids. It's like, it's my baby.
Right.
So I want it to be right, and I want to be able to give it the attention that I feel it needs. And like what I've seen from you guys, and before I even met you today, I feel confident and blessed to be sitting here with you, with you starting your own company. And like I say, I commend you again for doing this in the middle of the pandemic, where a lot more people were like Sandra, and they were like, look, I ain't gotta go to work now. Pandemic gonna be a year. I'm gonna milk this. And when it's time to go, like you got people now that are being called back to work, and they like, how much sick time I got? I ain't ready to come back yet.
Right.
But again, that back and forth with, and like you said, it's very easy to just say, well, let's just get another job. Like you said, you started right away. You were like, oh well, indeed, let's look. It's a pandemic. I lost my job, and I gotta get another job.
Right.
Then the idea was presented, and you went in head first, and you went in full force. And I think that because you guys are so supportive of each other, I think that's what helped you in the midst. Cause like you said, you've seen so many people that have started things, and then it's like it fizzles out or it stops. They maybe don't have the strongest support, you know. And like you said, with the people that you met, and people were like you said when you first started, it was like, yo, what's up with the juices? And you was like, dude, like no, I'm just on my social media, you know, I had a juice, I'm trying to get right, trying to get myself right now, I'm just letting y'all know what I'm doing. But then how it spawned into what you are now.
Right.
You know, it's a beautiful thing. So where do you guys see his and her juices in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, we've talked about in the next 3 to 5 years, we be talking about we want to be something more like where you can see his and her juices more in stores, where people can go in and grab a juice versus, it will still always probably be delivery and stuff options, but we do want to make it easier for people to get it. Like when you can go to a pizzeria and get something and you see a Coke, why can't it, instead of replacing that Coke, why can't you get a his and hers juice? When you're at the supermarket, we just want to make it, we want to be bigger and make it more accessible for people, for families too, because you know sometimes you at the market, it's just easier to, you know, when you just grab everything while you're there. So eventually we want to branch off and be in more stores.
Right. We want his hair juice to be global like a nigga, global like a Gatorade. We want his hair juices to be sponsored by NBA, NFL, whatever, hockey, I don't know, sports, you know, anything like that. Like grab his and hers. You know, you see his and hers when you watching the game, NBA, and you see ESPN, you see his or her juices tonight, but his or her juices, yeah, that's how I want that. That's how I want. That's how I'm global we looking, you know. And
cool.
just trying to, you know, just keep it going, tapping all our resources, man. And one of the biggest blessings this year was the Sixers that reached out to us.
Wow.
Yeah, we did a
small business spotlight.
Small business spotlight thing.
A lot of small businesses.
Yes, a shout out to the Sixers. They do a lot of spotlights for businesses, and you know, one of the people that worked there reached out to us, and she was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna run it back to the story." So, how I found her, it's a new pizza place in North Philly called like Down North Pizza or something like that, and they had a grand opening, and they just popped up on my page, and I was just looking at the business, and I seen the lady that's a producer for the Sixers. She was in the comments like, "So happy you guys opened up." I'll be scrolling, looking. I'm like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Who this?" Click their page. I'm like, "Sixers producer." And I'm a shooter. I shoot my shot. I'm a shooter. Tell her saying, "I will hop in your DM in 3 seconds."
Absolutely.
Send her a message.
Closed balls don't get fed.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
I said, send her a message. Send her a message. "How you doing? My name is such and such. You my fiance. Here's her juices. We would love to offer you some juices. We can deliver to you free of charge. Blah blah blah." She hit me back in like 10 minutes. "Oh, I love that. You need my address? Here's my number." I'm like, "Oh snap!" She went right back. Like,
Right.
you know, since how you think like I'm gonna shoot my shot, but I don't know it's a Sixers producer.
Right.
So cool. I sent it to her. Obviously, I'm gonna give her 48 hours. And I reached out, see how you like the juice. "Oh, I love them. Awesome. Thank you so much." Cool. And I guess she never forget about me. Then like 3 months later, she reached out like, "Hey, would you want to be, spotlight in our business, small spotlight?" Of course, yes. Why didn't you ask? Yes.
Absolutely.
And
We got so excited.
yeah, I said yes. I called my cousin. He's a videographer. He came to our house. That ad you might have seen was a clip from the actual Sixers little commercial that we did for them, and we sent it to the lady, and she incorporated with, you know, introducing that it was a Houston Rockets game that night. And basically, we just said how his her juices, explained our business, and we kind of just introduced the game that was coming on that night. And the Sixers posted up on their page and on their Facebook page. So we got a lot of love and attention from that too.
Yeah, they were real nice because after that they sent us like shirts, and we were able to give it out to our customers, give them the stickers. It was like the stickers, the shirt, and something else but they treated us really nice, and she kind of knew. And we had some more customers that didn't get shirts, and Darrell just asked her like, "Hey, if you have anything extra, would you mind sending it to us?" Because we got customers that they did.
2 days.
And that's why we love the Sixers.
Had another customer just supported us, came picked up. Cappuccino from Power 99, shout out to Cap. Cappuccino Power 99 DM'd us. "Hey, my girlfriend says she loves y'all juices. How can I get some juices?" I'm like, "Cappuccino, that's not familiar." I'm like, "Oh, this Cap Power 99. Reached out to her. She showed love. She was sponsoring us for about 6 months, just posting our juices every day on her page. So shout out to Kat. So
she would just give us shout outs for being a black business too on the
she
radio. People were like, "I heard from y'all from the radio," and we was just like, "What?" We didn't even know until somebody posted it up on Instagram, and it was like, "Oh my God, y'all on the radio!" And we like, "What?"
Right.
And she just said it, and we was like, "Wow, like thank you."
She actually heard it live.
Yeah, I did. I was screaming in the car like, "Oh my God!"
That's usually how it happens.
Yeah, I felt like I was dropping a mixtape or something on the
phone. Think
like,
about it, and it just pops up, and you're like, "Wait, what? That's us."
Yeah.
So that's real cool. I mean, I like to hear stuff like that, and hopefully, with the little bit of reach I have, and once this goes up, and once I do some editing myself and get it up on YouTube, we can get some more traffic to the business.
Absolutely.
You definitely will have a new customer in me. I'm going to try and do something every month.
Thank you.
If I can, but like I said, I'm going to give it the full effort, and I'm going to tell some other people. My coworkers and I actually just the other day, we said that first of the year, we going to come as a group, we going to start eating better and doing better, because where we work, we got a lot of idle time, and it's like starting to pick up, but it was slow throughout the pandemic. I'm working at the juvenile justice center, I work in admissions. So if there's people coming in, and if they're not, we got a lot of idle time, and we found ourselves, and like everything around there is pizza, burgers, same thing, You know, and we just keep eating that stuff, So we all came together and we said, so this would be a great start. So I'm gonna definitely tell them about this when I go to work today, that we can get together, and even if they don't, I am definitely gonna be a supporter of the business. Oh, no problem. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks.
So we still got some time,
Yeah.
and a lot of times I like to have fun with my interviews.
Cool.
So I have talked to you guys for good 30-35 minutes. I like to flip the script sometimes.
Okay.
So we can flip it, and you guys can be the interviewer, and I'll be the interviewer. So if there's anything, questions that you guys want to ask me, let's have that.
Okay, we can start with SportsRap. Why SportsRap? Where did you get the name? And you can kind of proceed from there.
Okay. The name came up because, again, one, sports junkie. Like I said, my wife tells me all the time, you talk sports. And then I've always been told that I had a radio voice, whatever. For a while, it took me a while to get used to that, because my thought process initially was like, well, wait a minute.
Like, you do got like a smooth jazz.
Right, but my thing was like,
this is the way.
all right, so
Right.
y'all basically telling me I need to be on the radio, like I got no chance and ever being on TV or nothing like that. I just need to be behind the scenes on the voice. But I got through it, I got through it, and I see where it has landed me. But the rap part comes in. I am an 80s baby,
Okay.
and rap music was one of my things back then. As I got older, I started listening to it. But I mean, it was always in me. Like I said, 80s babies. When I'm at grandma's house, spring cleaning, it's Aretha Franklin and all that. I got that, but once I got outside and was able to get with the homies and be on my own a little bit, it was the rap music, and it's what we normally played. We played the old school rap, so that's where sports rap came from.
Okay.
You be watching the highlights and all that stuff too. That's him. He don't watch nothing but all day sports highlights.
Unfortunately, because I do this, I kind of have to.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do sometimes take days where I step away from it completely, and I don't do anything involved with sports. I feel like I have to do that because, like I said, I come up with the itinerary, I come up with the lineup for every week, and when I have guests, I'm the one that does all the homework, the research on the guests. I do all the most of the promo and everything like that. So every now and again, I feel like for me to stay true to myself and stay consistent with what I do, I have to step away from it a day or so. Because it's hard because I've gotten to this thing where I've started bringing stuff into the show. Initially, it was just the show on Mondays, and that was pretty much all you got till next Monday. I started incorporating giving scores. I post scores I try to stay consistent with it every day. Now it's trickled down to I try to do a specific time every day, and I have another segment that I call the Dime of the Week, where if I find a story that pops up in my head, or something like you guys, but I knew you guys were coming, and I did that little video first, so I didn't do it. I usually do that and just give 2-3 stories once a week, and that's it. I mean, again, it's just something that I have a passion for. Like, apparently you had a passion for juicing, and you guys are where you are, so that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. Sometimes you, like with him, he gets so passionate. Not just him, I would say too, but he definitely, because he sees further from his or hers, like just us just now. So I know that's why he's just like, I know we can do this. I know, like, it can go but so far. I mean, even this, like, sports rap can go but so far, but you just gotta stay consistent.
Right. And I mean, I have somewhat the same kind of support system that you guys have. I have my wife who's on me, and sometimes she might catch me if I don't post something. She said, "Oh, did you see this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in the process of posting it right now, so can you not text me so I can get it done?" We joke like that. Then we have friends outside friends that I went to school with, and friends that me and my wife know as couples together that stay on. If I miss a day, I may get a text that next day, I'm like, yo, I ain't getting no scores on Wednesday, like, what's going on? You know, so that picks me, and I always tell them, and every now and then I go on and I look, I appreciate the help everybody does. If I make a typo, somebody will shoot me a message, yo, listen, you said this, when I know you meant this, like, bet, appreciate it, I'm gonna get that right now. So again, you have to have a support system, because if you don't, you'll hit that wall, and you won't get through. You'll want to get through it, but you won't get through it, you know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
You know,
man.
and it's just, it's like you said, it's just one of those things where you start a business having a family where you have to figure out, and I think that's one of the hardest things, figuring out how to spread out that time.
Balance everything.
Right.
That's the hardest thing, man, because if you don't figure it out, you'll get overwhelmed, and then stuff is just gonna explode.
Something's gonna go wrong.
And then it's like one thing is just you gonna stop something, you gonna stop the business, or something's gonna happen.
Right.
And it's hard trying to find that balance. The more important thing is trying to find that balance. And sometimes I get caught up in so much business, I'll be like, darn, I gotta take my daughter to the park. Who knows how long? You know what I mean? Like it get like that. It get like that. You know, like I gotta chill with my kid. I gotta do some of my kids this weekend. I can't worry about. Cause when you so hands on,
Right.
you don't have no assistance, no nothing. When you hands on everything, it can get overwhelming at times. We may gotta step away a week or two. We have those moments.
Oh, no doubt. Like I even had to step away. Sometimes I step away even at events. Like I go to games, stuff like that all the time. When people see me post, I go live at games. But then I get the game. Sometimes people like, oh, you here again? And I'm like, oh, I'm not working today.
Yeah.
I'm a fan today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just at Camden Monarchs game, their home opener, and I ran into people I knew in the stand, and you know, I had the media, the VIP stick brand or whatever, but I went and sat in the regular stands, and people coming up to me, it's like, yo, like, why you sitting over here? You should be. I said, I'm not working today.
Right.
You know, and they said, but we know you're gonna post something. I said, yeah, probably tomorrow, but right now,
Just wanna enjoy your time.
I'm taking a little break right now, you know, and I always find myself sitting up in the corner somewhere when I go to events like that, and sometimes people find me, sometimes they don't, which is good both ways, because like I said, even when I'm not physically working at that particular moment, that next day or 2 days later, there's something going on, because I'm back in it, I can't help it. And then like you said, if I neglect it too long, something's gonna happen. And then like you said, in terms of having a business, you have to get that right. Even if you have to, like, look, like you said, take a step back and look again and get it right, you gotta get that right, because not making light of the situation, but the family is there.
Right.
Family gonna be there. Whether your business is there or not, family gonna be there. But when you put your mind to something that's something that you want and something that you put work into, it becomes high on the list. I'm not gonna say it's number one, but I know it comes high on the list,
Right.
where you have to say, look, I gotta do this. Like I said, sometimes I had that with my wife. I'm like, look, I gotta do this now, because if I don't do it now, I'm gonna forget, and then when I need it, I'm not gonna remember what it was or whatever. So that was kind of like how I stay in tune with that.
Yeah, it's like it becomes your job too. You know what I'm saying? But it's a
Right.
job that's never ending.
Never.
Right.
Because people sometimes will think, oh, well, you just come here and just talk, but it's like you gotta do homework. You gotta have a schedule. You gotta
Right.
think about what you're gonna talk about, so that way, how do I switch it up? It's not repetitive, or
Right.
how do I do this?
Mhm.
Excuse me. And you just talk about things like that. So that's how it is with us at home too. We feel like sometimes I'm like, all right, we can do this while the girls are at school or while they're doing this. When they get home, it's mommy and daddy, and then when they're in bed, it's back to his and hers.
Yeah. That's the hardest thing, is trying to figure out a schedule.
Sorry.
The scheduling aspect of things is the hardest, because if you don't have anything planned out, don't have anything with the schedule, you're gonna get overwhelmed, like we just talked about. You're gonna be all over the place. Gotta have a schedule, and that's something we are still currently working on.
I can only imagine, like you said, you guys are, apparently you're doing the shopping, you're doing the juicing, you're packaging, you're creating the labels, creating the menus. So you're like the boss and the employees at the same time.
Correct.
You know, so I understand where you say getting that schedule is tough, because even when you get to mommy and daddy, you like, all right, we know we gonna do this at 4 o'clock, but it's 3 o'clock now, or it's 1 o'clock now, and we know we gotta do this at 4 o'clock, and then it's like you start getting anxious a little bit,
Right.
where it's like you get caught up. It's like, all right, we know we gotta do that because that's the business, but it's mommy daddy time.
Yeah,
Like, we
it's
gotta
hard.
have this.
The balance is hard, cause even when it comes to us, sometimes I'll be like, when do we get
Right.
mommy and daddy?
She's like, Darrell, we
Besides
gonna
being-
go out again. I'm like,
besides being parents, you know, cause when people talk about, it's like, you know, you need time to be boyfriend and girlfriend, fiance, husband and wife, on top of, you know, you're already a mom and a dad, you know, you guys
Right.
are, so we gotta give our girls time, but when do we get our time outside of his and hers juices, outside of just everything else? When do we get to go out and just be a couple and just breathe a little bit, you know?
Absolutely.
And you don't get that time often, so it is hard, because not only are you balancing the business, you balancing the household, and then with everything going on, you know, your kids are growing up. Sometimes they don't understand either. They don't always understand the business. You know, like how you gotta sometimes sit on your laptop and you sitting there for hours. And that's something I even told him, cause he like, oh, I am with the kids. You not with the kids. You home. You know, they looking at you, but you're not really communicating. Which is fine, because, you know, like I said, you really, like you said, you gotta. They gonna be there, and it's hard to kind of just be like, look, I gotta work. You know, right now I gotta work. I gotta do this, because they're not gonna understand it till later on when the process is
Right.
there. But like, you're like, I gotta do this now, because if I don't, it might not happen, or I might not get it done. Of course you always want to be with your kids, so that was something that we had to like figure out too. Like, you might not always get to sit down and watch TV. You might not always get to sit down and do this. Not saying that we don't love them, but it's just like you really do gotta focus on your craft, like your business, your passion, because it's only gonna take you so far. Even outside of finances, this is bigger than us. It'd be bigger than you, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know why you consuming it or just thinking about it so much.
I think about this every day, every night. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. What's next? What we gonna do different? How we gonna tackle this next task? I think about it every single day. It's that's a good thing. If it's on your mind like that, then you know it's a good thing. You know,
Definitely.
like
And like you said, the hardest part is just trying to put it all together and work it through. You know, it's not like you got an iron, you just iron a shirt and the wrinkles come out. That's not gonna happen in a business.
right.
And especially for people like you guys who had no clue of the business aspect,
No clue.
but you had your thought process. You knew what you wanted to do. You knew what you wanted to do. You wanted to sell a product, and you did that. But like you said,
That wall came. We was like,
that business aspect is like, wait a minute.
yeah.
We was alright, but now it's like, what's going on? So,
Yeah.
you know, I applaud you guys for pushing through. You know, because like I said, the determination is what you wanted, and you are doing everything possible that you can to be successful, which you are right now. So, before we close out, what are some other pop-up things that you guys have done, as far as with the business?
We've done the Black Food and Desserts Expo. That's a pop-up that they do twice a year. The first time we did it was kind of getting out of the pandemic. We did it in October. This was our second time,
We
third.
did it October 2020. That was the first one.
Yeah, so we did it already 3 times. That's always great, because she gets black chefs, pastry, desserts people who do that, who are small business as well. And she helped us like get our banner. She helped us get certain things, and she's like, you know, just a lot of her with the expo going about it, how she talks about it. You can see her passion to it, and it gave us a lot of stuff, because it's, you know, she talks about a lot of stuff, just being more like presentation when we're doing expos and stuff, and getting this kind of idea out of people's head where you always think black and brown people, one, we're always late, or we always got something that doesn't look organized, or things like that. And she talks about just presentation, being on time, talking about your business. So she goes through a whole process with everybody that's doing the expo. Um, just talking about it, having meetings, like, you know, just helping people. Like, hey, when people come up to your table and ask you questions, are you ready for these questions? A lot of times we not. When they ask you certain things, and how do you, keep business going, and things like that. So we've done the Black Expo. We've done, we went to a game in, Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah, we also did an event at the Brotherly Love League
Okay.
in Camden, New Jersey, where like all the
And that came,
retired college players,
yeah,
maybe some retired NBA players or current NBA players, overseas players, that got together and they had like a summer league game.
Yeah.
We were invited to actually vent at
Yeah, I
that.
remember that league. I know a couple of those guys. I reached out to them, but I didn't really get any feedback. So I'm waiting till next summer, and they gonna get a lot of DMs from me.
Yeah.
Definitely next summer.
we did that one. And we've done a few like small pop-up shops and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So always lucky, always blessed. A lot of our customers are black and brown customers, and they're always looking for black businesses to support.
Right.
And when they do, they come back, or they be quick. A lot of them now, when we do little pop-ups, they be like, "Oh, I heard of y'all," and they be ready to do a video.
Yeah,
They want to be,
right.
they be ready to be on
Sandra tell
Instagram.
you, like, I'm so personal. Like, I'm a personal person. Like, I'm always hands on. Like, when you get that juice, I'm gonna hit you 48 hours from the time you get it. How was it? Da-da-da. Oh, we loved it. Da-da-da. Whatever the case may be. Like, I take all that feedback and I tell
Yeah,
everybody,
we
thank
big
you,
with our
appreciate
customer
you.
service. That's one thing a lot of people tell us. They be like,
That's what
just
keep
thank you.
That's what keep the drive. When people appreciate that you even reached out, they're like, oh my God,
Right.
nobody ever even hit me up to even ask how was the product. I say
Right.
thank you, we appreciate you so much. Hope to see you back again, like
Yeah, like,
every time.
yeah, like you said, people are so, for lack of a better word, normalized with, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy it, okay, I'm gonna drink the juice, and like, all right, it's just gonna be whenever I get another one, I'll get it. They may ask me some whatever. But I think that's more inviting and a lot more comforting when you do reach out,
Yeah.
because people are thinking like, oh, all right, well, they actually care.
Yeah, we do.
And every customer has my number.
And
Everybody.
it's not like we actually care about you buying the juice and buying more. We want to know how you felt about the juice.
Actually.
How did it taste? Has it helped you in any way? Things like that. So I think that's another
Yeah,
benefit.
when they share it with their kids and they send us pictures and stuff like that, like we want to see that, because we parents, we love the kids, but when we see people like, oh, I really like it, or we got people telling us about their parents, and their parents sometimes be sick and they get it for their parents, they're like, my dad got to do better, or my mom got to do better, so I'm buying these juices for them. And then when they take it, their parents were scared, and then they were like, no, my mom loves the juices now, like I gotta buy it all the time for her. Because there are, us, we're the generation that we're now teaching our parents, like, you gotta start taking care of yourself. And I see even with his parents or ours, like when we go, oh, we on a diet, we trying to eat better, they start doing it too. It'd be like a domino effect, because they be like, oh, okay. We're like, yeah, how about we just have salads for dinner, or how about, and salads can be fun, because, we'll start doing all this stuff, but it do be a domino effect, because as soon as we be like, oh, we trying to do better, and it's not like, oh, she copying me. It's more like, no, I'm not saying we all gotta be the healthiest and fittest, because
Right.
it'd be hard to get people out of their habits, but sometimes they can see that we are now teaching our parents how to eat and do better.
Right.
And be like, yo, just drink this, or start eating more of this. It's hard, because sometimes when you order, even me, you be stuck in your ways and what you want to eat and what you like to eat. So now when we hear our customers be like, yeah, I gave my mom this juice and she loves it, we be like, oh my God, like, that's good to hear, because I know with some people, they be like, oh, I ain't trying that. They don't want to try it.
Right.
But then when they do, and they be like, I was so scared to try it, and I love it. So now they be like, oh, my mom she making me buy it every week, or my dad, for them. And there's stuff that I'll be happy to hear, because I'll be like, oh, you heard, like, his dad was sick, and now he doing better because he be drinking the juices, or, he's starting to realize it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Right. So again, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to spend a
Thank
little
you.
bit of time
Thank
with
you.
me.
Thank you.
You know, I wish you all the best. Again, you know I'm watching, so I will be watching. And don't be surprised if I see some things and I comment on some stuff, you know, here and there. And again, like I said, I'm definitely gonna purchase some juices. I'm gonna try and do something every month.
Well, we
And
got some juices for you today too, so you can try them out,
Yeah,
and hopefully you
absolutely.
can bring them home to the fam and
I'm
they
gonna
can
take
try
some
them
to
too.
work, I'm gonna take some home, and I'm gonna give some away and let some people know. And while we're on that, before we close out, let everybody know where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, and how they can get orders in for his and hers juices.
Alright, so visit the site hhjuice.com. That's hhjuice.com. We offer local delivery, shipping via UPS. You have a pickup option. We are an online juice-based business, so hhjuice.com. Fridays are normally for local delivery and pickup and shipping options. As long as you have your order in before Friday, we can get you your local delivery, your pickup, and we can ship it out to you over the weekend. So
Instagram.
hhjuice.com, Instagram at his and hers juices, like it's spelled at his and hers juices. Facebook, his and hers juices. TikTok, what's TikTok?
Everything's his and her juices.
Everything his and her juices. His and
All
hers
the
juices.
good spots,
We on his and
Facebook,
hers,
Instagram,
TikTok,
and that.
Facebook.
And there you have it, folks. If you didn't catch any of that, of course you know me. Once we wrap up for this first segment, we are going to take some pictures, and when I post those pictures later, I will give you all the information in the comments. And coming up at 12, slightly after the 12 o'clock hour, we got some special college football dialogue for you guys. So stay tuned. Thanks again for tuning in. Once again, thank my guests, Darrell and Sandra,
Thank you for having us.
and their videographer over there in the corner. You can't see him, but I'm gonna give him a shout out because
Baby, what's up?
he was intuitively making sure he got all of this footage for them. It's your boy SportsRap D. I'll see you on the other side in just a few minutes.
Alright, you got that old school bumping, right? There you go.
Yes, indeed.